The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you very much, Mr Chairman. Mr Chairman, in a previous contribution, I worked through with the House the Select Committee process and some issues that arose with the amendments that were not accepted by the Select Committee, which have been reintroduced as a supplementary order paper. What I have not done, sir, to date is to deal with the issue at first principles, and I wish to spend a few minutes on that now. May I open by rebutting the ridiculous claim from the Minister and the members opposite that somehow a clause in this bill that workers can refuse to work on Easter Sunday with 14 days' notice actually is going to hold any sway in the real world. Now, if an employer says to a worker, hey, I want you at work on the weekend because it's one of our busy weekends, and the worker says, I'm going to exercise my right under clause whatever it is not to turn up, the fact is it will, in the real world, affect the relationship between the boss and the worker, and the power imbalance in that situation is so obvious that the House really doesn't need to debate it. If the government thinks that's a sufficient fig leaf for this disappointing piece of legislation that undermines family life, that undermines the plurality of religious observance, then there's very little actually that one can do to enlighten them. But all is not lost for the National Party, because the truth is that a number of its senior members and principled members have repeatedly voted against similar legislation. There have been 4 attempts in recent memory to pass through this House, and I mentioned in my previous contribution, laws that would liberalise trading on Easter Sunday. One from Steve Chadwick in 2006, one from Jackie Dean in 2006, one from Todd McClay in 2009, and another one from Jackie Dean in 2012. Several members of the National Party voted against all or most of those. Chester Borrows, no, 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 no. Bill English, no, 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 yes. Jerry Brownlee, no, no, yes, no. Nick Smith, no, no, yes, yes. Michael Woodhouse, yes, no. Instructive. Alfred Naro, no. Tim McIndoe, no, no. Sam Lotuinga, no, no. So here is the real reason why the government is not bringing a similar piece of legislation to the House today, because it would be on documented voting record too difficult for a number of principled members of the National Caucus to vote for it. Hence the workaround, Mr Chairman.
I've previously ruled, and I know my colleague has, that this is a debate on the full extent of the bill, and I'd ask the member to come back. Leave has been granted for a debate on the whole bill is one question, and I'll ask the member to come back. Talking about past voting records is fine in passing, but the member is spending a lot of time on that, and I ask him to come back to the content of the bill. The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, yes, I'm very happy to do that. Before I do, though, I would ask perhaps the members opposite Alfred Naro and Sam Lotuinga if they would like to take a call or take to defeat to clarify their personal...
No, I've just asked the member in a manner which I think is in keeping with the spirit of what we're doing here, with a debate as one question, and just to concentrate on the content of that. Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I will readily accept your guidance. Mr Speaker, the difficulty with the legislation and the clauses that we have now is that because this legislative process has been such an utter shambles, members are going to have to vote clause by clause, and those votes are going to be extremely complex. Let me come back to first principles. The reason I'm going to exercise my conscience to vote against this bill is because I stand for the protection of one of these few remaining pieces of legislated family time. And, sir, I stand for, and whatever faith it is, the opportunity for religious observance. Now, sir, there are very few protected opportunities in our calendar, and we are increasingly becoming diverse and multicultural, and that is a good thing. But we should not give up the legislative protections that we have. And that is why I'm going to be exercising my conscience to vote against this bill. However, because the government's constitutional workaround has employed this rather bizarre and circuitous route of using local government as a proxy, because of the constitutional issues, the Henry VIII issues, which arise because of that, and because of the Minister's amendment, which seeks to make it even quicker and dirtier by doing away with the bylaw process and making it a policy stroke of the pen, sir, members who oppose the bill are going to have a very close look at this on a clause-by-clause basis. Sir, we're going to have to vote, for example, in favour of the original bill's Clause 5E, which set out a lot of the bylaw process protections, and against the Minister's amendments to that clause. And much as we detest the bill as a whole, sir, those of us who oppose it are going to vote in favour, I would imagine, of clauses, sir, which provide for the protection. Sir, Mr Speaker, Mr Chairman.
I'm calling up Marama Davidson.